Hey there, I'm Michael and I just played Cottage Garden. So what is Cottage Garden? Well, it's a game about gardening. You each have your own gardening beds and you're picking plants to put in those. But the plants come in specific shapes, which are tiles. How you place those tiles in your garden, you can't overlap them, and if you cover up plant pots or pot covers, you'll lose yourself points. And it's all about getting the most points. But it's a very intricate game because on top of this, as you fill in your garden, you'll then get a new garden to fill in. And that means all the pieces go back and you get to order where they go back. And there's a very interesting grid system for how you pick. So you're moving the gardener along, that's represented by a die, around the edge of a grid. Wherever the gardener is for your turn, you can pick from that line. So you've always got a maximum of 4 pieces that you're picking from, but you can kind of estimate what will be coming up for you, what's coming up for your opponents, whether your opponent will be able to get this one as you go around the corner, etc. So there is a bit of interaction there, but interaction is where this game falls down. You may be listening to what I'm saying and thinking, this sounds a lot like Patchwork, and that's because it's by the same designer. There is a lot in common between Cottage Garden and Patchwork. However, the way you are choosing the tiles, they've done a very good thing in Cottage Garden because of the size of the boards and the fact that you're not just using one board, that it's changing through the course of the game. They've been able to reduce the number of tiles and you're just reusing tiles in order to have a longer game. But by doing that and having the grid system used for selecting rather than just the next 3, and having it be more players, means it's actually harder to gauge and interact and kind of hate draft in a way and get in the way of what your opponent is going to do and kind of do a move knowing that then your opponent will do this and then you can do this. Not having that time bar and that level of competitiveness that Patchwork gives with the head-to-headness actually hinders Cottage Garden. Don't get me wrong, it's a fabulously well-designed game with some really sound mechanics in there. And it is fun to play. It was an enjoyable experience. But it's just not as good as playing Patchwork. And it's longer. And I'd just rather sit and play 2 games, 3 games of Patchwork in the time that it takes to play 1 game of Cottage Garden. It all comes down to that interaction, really. But there is one thing that Cottage Garden has going for it. One thing that Patchwork doesn't have, that pretty much any other game doesn't have, and it's got me wondering, why don't more games have this? Cats. I'm mad about cats, so that's one thing that's a big bonus for me. But as I say, the game fell short. It is a fun experience. It is an interesting experience as you place pieces, but for the most part, there's always something you can place. It's just not necessarily the best thing you can place, and it's just kind of a leisurely walk towards the finish line in this game. Whereas in Patchwork, it's much more thinky, it's much more competitive, it's just a better game all round. So that's my thoughts on Cottage Garden. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, as well as subscribing to it and sharing it with your friends and family. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.